Journalist Whitney Webb describes UN Agenda 2030 as a plan to impose a digital control system on humanity via programmable digital currencies, carbon taxes, and energy quotas, as part of a broader effort to reduce the world's population.
As far as Malthusianism go, there's sort of this idea that humanity has to disappear by merging itself with machines. There's also this view that the world can't support X billion number of people. The number has to be much smaller. And I think there's been really a long-term effort to sort of engineer that idea. And there's sort of been this argument that's very common with people who sort of were in the past and since then have developed some, development plans and things like that for the United Nations that make arguments that the world's population needs to be a lot smaller than it is right now for sustainable development, quote unquote, to actually be able to happen. I think sustainable development, as it's sold to the public through groups like the UN, for example, are really not what they claim to be. It's not really sustainable development for the good of the planet and the people. A lot of it is really aimed at ensuring that people are onboarded to some type of digital control system for easier management of the masses, and particularly onboarding people onto types of surveillable, programmable digital money, whether that means a central bank digital currency or a private sector digital currency like a stable coin, for example. But all of that can be just as surveillable and programmable as CBDCs. And, once you take control of the money and can surveil all the money and program the money to only be able to be used to purchase products X, Y, and Z and not products ABC, for example, you can begin really micromanaging people and basically what type of economic activity people at any scale you want can engage in. And ultimately, if you limit, through things like carbon taxes or carbon markets and things like that, or quotas on carbon, that's essentially a tax on how much family a household uses. And so if you are greatly reducing the amount of energy that certain households can use, you're probably also limiting the size of the family that they can have, or the number of children they can have, and things like that. So there is a potential for that. And as I mentioned earlier, there are people that, historically at the UN have been arguing sort of for this reduction in population. For example, Julian Huxley, Aldous Huxley's brother, who was the founding president of UNESCO at the UN. He was president of the British Eugenics Society. In his opening speech as director of UNESCO, he argued that as it relates to eugenics directly, we need to make the unthinkable thinkable again. This is right in the aftermath of World War II. But that mentality hasn't really gone away. I think it's undergone, different iterations, and a lot of it ultimately manifests not necessarily in trying to cull people or kill them, but in some type of control over people's economic means and energy usage.